Hi guys, welcome to the Icehouse podcast. We're with Simon Keepa today, who is the business owner of PhysioAction. And Simon is on our Owner Manager Program 50. So actually have the implementation day coming up soon and finishing up the program. So welcome, Simon. Good to have you on the podcast today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No worries. First question, we'll get straight into it, is explain your business to our listeners and your journey of becoming a business owner.
Yeah, cool. So I own PhysioAction, and we are a physiotherapy company based up here in Auckland. And we've got kind of two arms to our business. I have the private practice clinics, 4 of those up here in Auckland, and then we look at putting physiotherapists into high school settings as well. And so we have 14 high schools that we service during the school year, and it's been a real strength of ours over the last sort of couple of decades that we've been running it. And
what a great point of difference. Hey,
it's been like there's other companies that do it as well, but it's been a real focus of ours, and it's a very strong arm of our business that we are looking to grow. And
great.
So my journey to becoming the business owner was, I guess, a little bit fast tracked, and I was I was still in the early stages of my physiotherapy career when I got the opportunity to buy the company. I'd only graduated about 3.5 years prior to that sort of decision, and it was a bit of an educated leap of faith towards going into business. It wasn't something that I'd really considered. It was maybe on the radar and sort of around about this stage of my life, but it was fast tracked back then, and I'm thankful that the opportunity came about.
Wow, what a jump from graduating university,
Yeah.
And jumping into business ownership. That is a leap of that's major. Yeah, for sure. I'm sure you've learned a lot on the journey, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, I had no idea of what I was doing. My family had no business experience, and I certainly didn't. I didn't even really know what I was doing as a physio at that stage, and I was trying to craft my my skills to my profession then, and I the university degree has no component of business to it, and so very much flying solo through that journey and initially, and I was fortunate enough to put a few good people around myself and work our way through this sale and purchase of PhysioAction, and it's sort of, I'm starting to find my feet a little bit now, I guess, but it was certainly a wild ride for the first couple of years.
Oh wow, that's massive. Quite cool that you saw an opportunity though, and you took it and went for the ride.
Yeah, it sort of came about a little surprisingly. It's like I said, it wasn't on my radar. In fact, I was doing some work for the Warriors, and I worked my way into a position where I had been asked to look after the reserve grade team, and they were wanting me to travel, on the weekends, and so I was flying to Aussie most weekends for our away fixtures. And prior to looking at accepting that part-time role there, I sort of thought I better run this by the company owner, and so I sort of asked to chat to him, and I got on pretty well with him, and I said, this is an opportunity, and I was a tragic Warriors fan as well, still am, and I sort of said, I want to do this. Is there a way we can make this work? And and the way to make that work will basically be I need Fridays off, and so he was more accommodating than I thought, I guess is the way of putting it. He sort of said to me, oh look, it's the sort of opportunity that would be best suited to if you had your own company. And I was sort of initially I thought he was telling me to take a hike,
Yeah,
And
true.
and he sort of said, "Oh, look, I'm thinking of checking out, and I don't want to the stresses and the challenges of running a business day to day. So, if you're up for that, then how about you buy the company and you can work whatever days you want." And so,
Wow.
yeah, and to sort of to throw another spanner in the works, this was all happening sort of late in the year, and literally the next day I was jumping on a plane and meeting my girlfriend, and she was living in the UK, and I was meeting her in Germany the next day. So
Wow.
I sort of had that all land in my lap, and it was certainly a lot of consideration happening on the flight over.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, we sort of came back and sort of, and we sort of ended January and started to get the wheels in motion and made it all sort of, work out in the end. And yeah, there we go. That's the story.
What an interesting story. That is, wow, that's such a roller coaster. And yeah, it all just sort of been planted on your lap at one point, but you took the leap. Good on you.
Yeah, it certainly had its challenges. I was able to put a couple of key people around me. And I had a family friend that had owned a business for a long time, and he came on board as a sort of he just sold his business, and so he was at a loose end, so he sort of gave me a bit of a hand. And then one of the conditions of the sale was that the owner, who wanted to carry on working as a physio, just didn't want to run it. So I said, well, I'll take it off your hands, but I'm happy to do that, but you've got to work as a business consultant for me as well. So
yeah, brilliant.
we agreed to that term for I think it was about 2 years as well. So it was a bit of a safety net for me, that's for sure.
Great idea. Great idea. Man, that is a great, interesting, journey of becoming a business owner. That's for sure. Okay, next question. When did you first hear of the Icehouse and the owner manager program within all of that?
It would have been a couple of years ago. I was conscious of looking to develop my my business experience. I turned out that I was actually a confident physio in the end, and I kind of went okay at that, but the business side of things was very, very much foreign to me. So I was looking at bits and pieces that I could do to improve myself there, and I don't know how, but I ended up getting put in touch with a guy, Wayne Voss, who was a regional business partner advisor, and he and I had a catch up and a chat, and looked at some of the areas where I'd potentially like to develop, and one was around strategic planning and things like that, and so I was able to get some funding a couple of years back, and I did he recommended that I do the Icehouse Improving Business Performance and Planning workshop.
Cool.
And I don't know how that all works, but I don't know if it's who facilitates them usually, but on that particular workshop, Chris Wood was the facilitator for it, and she sort of I thought the content in that was fantastic, and awesome. She said to me, she pulled me aside at the end of the 2-day workshop and said, hey, look, you probably your business is probably, this sounds a bit arrogant here, but she's like, your business is probably at a stage where it's a little bit too big for something like this, and so you'd probably be better suited to look at the owner managers program. Great. And I went out, had a look at it when I got home, and I saw the price tag and thought, shit, it better be good. Yeah. And I'd already expressed interest in it anyway. And so anyway, a few months later, I was meeting with Chris Michaels, and he said, are you interested? And I said, yeah, look, I'm just, I'm trying to work out the timings and this and that. And he said, there's one in July. Here's a form, sign that and you're in. And so he caught me on the hop, and I thought, okay, well, I'll sign away and I'll pay my deposit and we'll lock it in. And upon reflection, it was the best thing that ever happened in terms of, my business experience, because the value out of that was invaluable. The experiences and the knowledge and the contacts, were fantastic.
Yeah, that goes directly into the next question of summing up your owner manager program experience. It sounds like taking the leap was a good call in the end, but like it was I'm pretty sure
few of the guys in my cohort were feeling the same. You're thinking, shit, this is we're all in here. You got to divulge all your financials, and you got you got to lay yourself bare there, and so
it's vulnerable, yeah.
And I'm going, by the way, I don't know a huge amount about business either, and so I'm thinking this is going to be a real eye opener. Everybody's going to be right up here, and I'm going to be, this muppet down here is fumbling his way through things, and then sort of after, you kind of everybody sort of feels things out in the first couple of days, and you realise that there's a lot of similarities between everybody's businesses there. And I sort of went in thinking, how are these, I'm interested to see how this works, because I don't know if people outside the physiotherapy industry would be able to, guide me in some of my significant decisions that are probably on the horizon.
Totally.
And then when I got there and I realized that kind of most people, they just sort of said, oh, you're in the service industry, and, you're the same as all the other services. And I thought, well, I don't know if I am. And then, after about, half a day, I realized that, that was dead right. And most of the guys in the service industry sort of thing, regardless of the industry we were actually in, had very similar challenges. And it was nice to, I'm a sole owner, and so I've got, I don't have too much accountability. Well, back then I didn't, and so it's nice to see other guys and girls in the same position that, there was certainly a lot of crossover and a lot of similar challenges and experience to be able to pass on,
Brilliant.
So fantastic move, and I'm looking forward to the implementation date coming up, to see a lot of the guys who I've had contact with, by the way, over the last, we finished in November, and I've caught up. One of the guys, I went and did a wine tasting. He's got a wine company, so I was at his place doing a wine tasting, and I rung another one of the guys about a property that was on the radar for a bit, and talking to one of the other guys that was in my in my smaller group, business planning group. And so we keep in touch pretty regularly, and the WhatsApp chat is always lighting up. It's some wonderful contacts have been made through there for sure.
Yeah, that's so cool. Two things I really take out of what you said is, first thing is, I love when I hear people say, I wasn't sure if business owners from different industries would get my world, but to find out we all had the same challenges and pain points is sort of refreshing, and realizing that you can actually connect with all business owners, really, because you're going through very similar things, which is cool. And then also just the network and the connections that come out of it, and that someone that owns a wine company, like you just said, is so different to what you do, but just how you guys can keep in touch and connected, and chat and have friends for life, but also mentors and all that sort of stuff. It's just invaluable. That's awesome stuff.
Yeah, the contacts have been fantastic, and the business experience and knowledge that I soaked up through there was great. And I wasn't, I didn't put in too much, sort of background work prior to going on the course as well. And I didn't understand or have any insight into the amount of content that was, I guess, business related, but with a focus on my position in the business and me as well. And so that was just as important as as the real dedicated business and strategy stuff was actually stepping back and going, I better look to take care of myself as well, so I can actually perform better. And it's something I'd never considered, and now I look at that in a whole different light and go, well, yeah, of course I've got to take a little bit of time for myself to keep myself in check, and that's been something that I'd put on I hadn't prioritized, and it's not massive things, it's just making sure that I'm not up to midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning sending emails and that sort of rubbish, that that will actually wait, and I can prioritize a bit of sleep and stuff as well. So that was another fundamental thing that came out of the owner managers program, was to look after your business. You got to have your head screwed on and be focused, and say the first step is to look after yourself as well.
That's awesome. And again, goes great into our next question of, what changes did you implement into your business and your lifestyle since the program?
I dovetailed things quite nicely. Just before I went on the owner managers program, I also was speaking with Chris about some in fact, I think it might have been during the first lockdown, I was thinking about some sort of coaching or mentoring. So I had a bit of precursor with that prior to going into the Owner Managers program. And so I had a few ideas about what I wanted to do from a growth point of view. And I'd used my mentor and coach as a sounding board for that, and was able to take those and table some of those ideas with the Owner Managers cohort and get a lot more focused opinion on those sorts of areas of growth or challenge. And so I was able to develop quite a tight strategic plan with a lot of focus and direction, and then put some timeframes around that. And it's been because being a sole business owner, I do find that a challenge to be accountable to just myself, and so it's nice to have that coach sitting in the background, keeping me on task. And so the strategy that that we're looking to roll out through this year is something that sort of we had a little bit of insight that maybe that was an opportunity for us, and it looks like now that that'll be a major focus for us in the next sort of 6 to 12 months. And then personally, the some of the changes personally has been around looking after some habits for myself. And so as I mentioned, I was really guilty of burning the candle at both ends, and getting some nights getting 4.5 hours sleep, and then dusting yourself off to go and do it all again the next day. And it's just not sustainable. And so having some disciplines in place to know that I don't have to get onto that straight away, or delegate that and give it to somebody else, and really try and separate myself from the operational side of things into more of a strategic position. So that's been a significant change for me that for me has been really valuable, and being able to prioritize the fundamentals of sleep has been really noticeable. And so I feel that I come to work enthusiastic and energetic, and can plow through work, and then have a little bit sort of less anxiety at home, going, oh geez, I forgot about that, or I need to do this and I've got to do that as well. So those couple of significant things there have been
major
world beaters for me.
Major. That's really great to hear, and cool to have something from how it's impacted you in your business, but also from your lifestyle, your personal world, and seeing those come hand in hand. And that's what I love hearing about people's experiences from the program, that it wasn't just business focused, but it's also looks at you in the business and just your life in general. So I think that's really great. Cool. Next question is, what learnings have you taken from your group? So you did mention, the course content's great, but also that the connections and the things you learn from the people also on program with you. Any things that pop out?
I think one of the it's good to be surrounded by other company owners, that you can bounce ideas off. Some of the tactics and some of the methods around leadership that were shared amongst the group are things that I'll look to implement and bring into PhysioAction, and I try and lead from the front in terms of letting my actions sort of do the talking, and so work, and that was probably why I was guilty of being awake all hours of the morning. Was I was trying to show everybody, hey, I slog my guts out here, and that's the price I pay for owning the company. But in reality, being a bit more clever around my leadership, and having more open-minded communication, and more transparency with my team has been something that I've really picked up on, and that was thanks to a few of the guys in the group that had some real discussions around that. My actual business planning group, the group of 4 that you spend a lot of time with, we had some really good discussions around that, and some insights and some tips, and then also some processes around how to implement those sorts of things. And that's the sort of thing I'd never have got if I was, just trying to chip away at things and sort of work through them on my own accord.
Yeah, totally. Oh, it's gold. It's gold what you're saying, that's for sure. Cool. Another question here is, what is one thing 2020 taught you that you are taking into 2021?
Be flexible. Be flexible.
Yeah, it was a year, wasn't it? A real year.
And off the back of that, so I guess, don't sweat the small stuff. Like,
Great.
I've never been, I've never rolled with an iron fist. My guys will tell you that I'm probably a pretty relaxed sort of boss, but around, being flexible and trying to accommodate people was something that I've always tried to do, and often at the the detriment of myself, or and sometimes the detriment of the company. But it's we recognise now that we need an element of flexibility both ways, to allow us to operate successfully. And hats off to my guys, in 2020, because certainly they were flexible, and we couldn't operate until level 2, and it was a bit of a shit sort of a situation, but everybody was in the same position, and my guys were flexible and sort of got on board with the approach we were taking, and hopefully we've been flexible enough with them too, to allow them to put some value back in their lives as well. So
it goes both ways.
Key for us.
Sure. Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. Last question, and it's been a really insightful and interesting chat. Last question is, what piece of advice would you tell an owner-manager of a small, medium-sized business in New Zealand at this time?
Geez, where do I start? I guess the thing for me is my thought process was never strategic. It was very much operational, and because of that, it was there was periods where it just seemed like we were always putting out fires, and we were always on the back foot, and there was always issues. And so my advice would be, if you can step away, and it's tricky because if you're an SME and you don't have somebody else to take over that workload, or you can't delegate, or you don't have the cash flow to support you stepping away from that side of things, I appreciate it, it's difficult, but my advice would be, set aside some time to be strategic and look at where you do want to head. And it sounds a bit cliched, and I would have thought it was a load of bullshit a few months back too, before doing the owner managers program. But now I recognize that there's so much value to that, and that's the stuff that really takes your business to a much more valuable asset if you can have the dedication to do that. And I remember Chris Wood and Deb Shepherd saying at the last owner managers program block, and they said to us, look, for the last 5 months, you guys have been taking 3 days out every month, consecutively to work on your business, and that try and implement that behavior moving forward. And that's something that I've been trying to continue, is not coming in the office so much and going to the park. I can't work from home. I find it really frustrating, so I find a cafe or something like that, and go and take an opportunity to be strategic and look at where the company's going, and then clear my head of that, because if you get bogged down in the operational stuff, you kind of tread water, and Chris Wood will love me for saying this, you'll mistake motion for progress, and you won't actually go anywhere. So that's my hot tip.
Yeah, that's great. Absolute gold again. And it's said quite a lot, but the whole working in the business versus on the business is so important, to actually set time aside to think, of your business long term and where it's heading, and think strategically. So that's great. Thanks, Simon. Some awesome insight there, and a really interesting journey, and haven't actually interviewed, a physio company. So it's really cool to sort of hear things from your perspective. And I know it's also relatable to every industry out there. So appreciate your time.
Yeah, no worries at all. Thanks for the opportunity.